Let's talk about your business, strategy, and the juicy details of what actually works, from mainstream fashion to fashion on Main Street, and the entire ecosystem behind it. How do we scale your company and do it with the balance and the happiness that we all seek? Let's hear from those insiders, experts, and strategists that actually make it happen. I'm your host, Ashley Alderson from the Boutique Hub, and I can't wait to chat. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast this week, or on YouTube if you're watching there. Kristyn, I'm so pumped that you could join us today. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, super pumped also to be here.
So you and I were just talking the last time we saw each other. It's been a little bit. We saw each other in person at the NFR with Double J. Your life has changed quite a bit since I last saw you.
Yes, I am my main role now, or my biggest role, I guess, in life now is mom. So
it's a big one. It's an important one.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who are listening who aren't familiar with Double J, tell me more about the family business, the history of the family business, and then your role along the way, how you've been supporting the family business.
Okay, so I've been around Double J my whole life. 1991 is whenever the year we started business. Growing up, I was down there at the factory and in the office doing stuff. In high school, I did some work there. So I've been working there for a long time. Even as a kid, I remember painting the letters on the trophy saddles that we were sending out. I mean, I wasn't real little then, but like, here's
I think I have one of those Double J trophy saddles from high school, like right out here. That's so funny. You probably painted that one.
Probably. Who knows? But it feels weird to talk so much about my involvement just because I haven't been super involved in the last 3 years. So it's life has been a little different with kids, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to be home with them and taking care of them and getting help when I need it. And I still get to do some things, but it's nice to talk to an adult.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. So I know you've got some new exciting things since having kids and now starting a children's boutique as well. But before we talk about the children's boutique, I want to talk a little bit more about Double J and just some of the experience you had, because we have so many Western stores inside of the Boutique Hub and Western boutiques. And I think there's always so much to learn from your family's business. So if someone doesn't know what Double J is, can you explain more what you guys sell and how that's even evolved over the years and the different lines that you carry?
Yeah. So I remember when I was first going to market, Western wasn't like as cool as it is right now. So there aren't as many young people involved. I was probably one of the only, me and a couple others were probably some of the only young females in the business. And we kind of, with our handbags, we base things a little more contemporary. So we were at the World Trade Center, but we were in on 13 where the temps were. And we were kind of marketing ourselves as both Western and contemporary. We've always tried to kind of do that. And so it's neat to see more people doing that and see Western kind of going into more mainstream, and seeing some of the lines out of LA that are doing the whole Western, with the fringe and the bling and the Barbie pink and all that, just loving it. It's just everything's getting a little louder and more fun.
Yeah. I love seeing.
Go ahead.
Oh, I love seeing Western take over so much of mainstream today. That's really exciting. Go ahead,
Kristyn. Kind of the reason too, why you see more younger people just that are into trends and wanting to maybe even start a new business in the Western industry. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And social media has really aided in that too. I
Yeah.
mean, not only has it made Western cool, but there are so many, like the rise of the influencers in Western fashion has been really something to watch.
Mhm.
But also, I feel like something that your family's done really well is you've taken products that were traditionally very handmade, labor intensive, and you've really like ramped up to create like a multi-channel brand. So it's not just saddles and tack and all of that, belts, but the accessory line is huge. And then you also have a jewelry line. So you help design for accessories and you have a jewelry line that you design with Double
Yes.
J. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So, it kind of, so I've always been involved in the designing for the handbags and some belts and stuff. But my sister has also, her name is Shadra, and I have to give a shout out to her. She's doing pretty much everything right now. um, but anyway, I wish she could be on, but she's in Vegas, doing, doing work. But, anyway, uh, what were we talking about?
Oh,
Her,
about the designing accessory lines and the
yes.
jewelry.
So that kind of started. We had all of this leftover scrap leather, and I was like, man, I really wish there's something cool we could do with this. I just kind of started playing around with it, and I I came up with the name Vestige because actually a friend of mine helped me also with coming up with that name. But anyway, vestige is actually a word in the dictionary, and it means basically something old that is turned into something new, like revamped and refurbished, or just brought back to life. So that's kind of where I came up with the name Vestige by Double J. So that's the jewelry line, and I get to do that. I have all of my stuff at home, so the girls, well, my 2-year-old likes to get into it sometimes, but it's still fun. I still get to crank out some orders that way, and um, so still definitely still very much working, just not out in the public eye.
Just in a different way.
Yeah.
When you think about designing the jewelry line and helping design the handbag line is huge for Double J.
Yeah.
Where do
hmm
you go to find your inspiration and new ideas?
Um, honestly, it's hard to say because I just like being around it my whole life kind of is where my inspiration comes from.
Mm.
I may get an idea from like a saddle that we made for Brittany Posey, or, just things here and there.
Mhm.
New leathers that, come out. I usually take a look at those and say, you know what, this will look good in this shape. Or,
Mm.
our customers actually are good at voicing their opinions on what they like. So
Yeah.
we try to pay attention to that. And then, I mean, just paying attention to trends.
Mm.
I'm a girl, I'm a woman, I like to shop a lot. So I pay attention to patterns in clothing and color schemes and
Yeah.
just stuff like that.
I love that. Um, when you think about all of your time going to the NFR and setting up with shows with your family, I know you've taken a break from that now with kids at home, but I wanted to ask you this
Yeah.
because I feel like I see this question a lot inside the Boutique Hub specifically. What advice would you have for people when they're contemplating setting up at a show and how to make setting up at a show successful?
Uh, so I think the biggest struggle with setting up a booth in Vegas is the amount of money that you spend going out there. So flights, you those airlines like to trick you into spending all this money, on certain days that are, so obviously everybody knows that. But try not to, try to keep your staff there instead of flying people in and out, which we get put in a pickle sometimes and have to do that. And but just I think money wise is a big thing for people, because if you want to be successful, you want to make money, then try to keep your costs down, and uh, maybe we rent a house, and we cook at home in the evenings. and everybody can go do their own thing, obviously, but
Yeah.
that's what we have done over the years. And my brother Josh does a good job of coordinating all of that for us. Um, he's he'll be he went out there to set it up this year, and my sister will be out there majority of the time. But other than that, being successful, I feel like if you're new and you're wanting to brand yourself, then just being out there in general is great because you get a lot of traffic. And it's a great time of year for people to buy just in general because it's Christmas time.
Mhm.
People are out shopping and spending money, and it doesn't hurt that there's alcohol flowing and they're in Vegas having fun. So everybody's in a great mood.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I recommend it to set up a booth there. You just have to try to keep your costs down. So.
absolutely. You said something that I think is really important that you guys have done really well as a family, and that's branding yourself. There's all kinds of people who make leather products, right? There's all kinds of saddle makers, jewelry,
Even
handmade.
more now.
Yeah, even more.
Yeah.
But you've created a brand that's stood the test of time and that is a bit of a household name in the Western industry specifically. Are there things that like jump out at you as you think about things your family's done or things you've been really intentional about that have helped you to build that brand name over time?
Oh, for sure. Just staying true to who we are, which
Mm,
is made in Texas, handmade. Um, just the quality is so important to us. I think that is probably the number one thing that has made Double J successful, is just the attention to detail and the
yeah,
attention to quality. And I mean, we hear it from our customers all the time. Like, I've had this built for 15, 20 years, and look at it, it looks brand new. And we're like, yeah, we love hearing stuff like that.
yeah,
So I think that's, you know, the key, because honestly, a lot of other brands out there that do leather work, I feel like they can't really touch us in that area of expertise just
yeah,
because it's most of it's not made here, or a lot of it isn't.
yeah.
A lot of the bigger um, brands, and even some that aren't so big, they are able to source their work elsewhere, in other
Mhm.
countries, and I just don't see the same quality, um, because the communication isn't the same.
Yeah,
Being able to say, hey, this is wrong, this needs to be fixed, this is not the quality that we're looking for. We want to make our customers happy, and the pride and the pride that everybody has in our factory, you can tell they feel the same way too. So all of our
mhm,
workers, it's so important to them,
mhm.
because it's their job, it's their livelihood, and it's ours too.
Yeah.
So.
You know what's interesting about that? I think the Western side of retail industry knows this so well, and I wish sometimes just apparel would pick this up from Western, and that is cheap's not loyal, right? There's a lot of people who want to carry products in their stores, and they're price conscious, right? I want to bring in a cheaper belt. I want to bring in, something that's sourced overseas, whatever. But at the end of the day, like the consumer isn't loyal to that. The consumer's loyal to quality and they're loyal to a brand name. And in Western, you see people like, yeah, you might spend $20 on a crap t-shirt, but you're going to spend $300 on a belt and you're going to spend several $1,000s on a nice saddle. Like in Western, we take it very seriously. Do you think that there's other things that non-Western retailers could learn from the Western industry?
um yes, absolutely. I mean, everything you just touched on, they can learn for sure. I think it's, to me, like, it's a whole different world getting into the boutique ownership with the clothing, because
Yeah.
I mean, I I wish there were more spin mills in the United States because I would
Yeah.
totally support 100% all of that. But I mean, it's hard to compete in the clothing industry, I feel like, with with all of that. But I'm new in all of that area. But as far as the Western industry goes, yes, I think there is a lot to learn. I think some people in the Western industry need to learn more about quality also, and less about knocking other people off. That would be great. Um,
Yeah.
but
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because that's a big deal. And that in the
I'm
last year.
kidding. But no, it's something that yeah, we've dealt with like our entire time of being in business. Um, yeah, it's I always get told like, oh, you should be so flattered, like, but it's not flattering when people take your hard thought out designs and try to do the same thing. It's repulsive in a way to me, because it's
Mm,
like, where are your morals? Like, didn't your mama raise you better than that? you know, or,
yes.
but,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just part of it.
I
It
think
really,
everyone who's listening, Kristen, is like shaking their head because everyone deals with this. You know, whether you're a boutique owner that gets your ideas knocked off, the boutique hub, how many times has my own content been knocked off? And all of your leather work, right? And there's people that are just flipping that like crazy. I see it all over markets all the time. What's your
I,
best
I
advice of how to just rise above that?
had some boutique owners, they're like, hey, so and so's like making your clutch organizers. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah. I've seen it. And you have a choice. You can either buy the crap or you can buy the quality. And, you know, it's just depends on what kind of name you want for yourself. What kind
Yeah.
of name do you want your business to reflect when you're selling? So,
That's perfectly said. Definitely, you're going to build a reputation around that, right?
yeah.
Uh, Tell me more about you. So, having kids, having two little girls, and transitioning a little bit out of your role. I mean, you're still busy designing, but not on the road as much as you were with Double J, and deciding to now start your own new venture. Tell me about starting the children's boutique.
Well, I have two girls, and I think like any mom that has girls, I love to dress my little girls up. And I think they love it too. At least
Yeah.
my 2 year old, I know she's really gets into it, or she's, starting to. But that's kind of where it all started. When I found out I was having another girl, I was like, man, I'm going to be spending a lot of money on clothes. And now I spend even more money on clothes, but things are starting to take off. They were a little slow at first, just because I started off in the summertime, which is like,
Mm.
that was, that's like the deadest part of retail. Um, so it was a little discouraging at first, but my husband's a good cheerleader, and he's like, we're Durbins, and you're Durbin now. We never quit. But yeah, so it's been a whole new experience for me, and it's been eye opening because I'm usually on the wholesale end of things.
Mhm.
And I mean, I studied fashion merchandising in college, and they taught us a lot about being a buyer mainly. Is what a lot of the formulas and everything that we learned.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know a whole lot on that end other than, talking and meeting with my buyers. But being a buyer now myself, it's a little different for me because I haven't been going to market. I've been doing a lot of buying online, which can get tricky.
Yeah.
uh,
It can.
but I feel like it's great. Like it's great that I'm able to do that because
Mhm.
I can kind of, spend my time when the girls are sleeping looking at some stuff and ordering it. And it's working out good, but it's also, I try to not lose my sense of self in doing all of the children's clothing, because my main background is leather work. And so I try to I've been incorporating things that mean a lot to me, like my mama necklace. And I started doing little kids bracelets and stuff too. So I try to incorporate some of my own work back into the boutique. And then some Double J stuff as well, like diaper bags and things like that. So just trying to, keep a healthy balance. Um, that's been the main goal in doing
Yeah.
it all.
I specifically want to ask you about balance, but in another context in just a minute. But let's stay on this because I just I'm assuming coming from an industry and a family business where you know your role and you know the expected outcome of your role so well to moving to starting your own business, starting this boutique, and you're kind of having to figure it out as you go. That's probably a bit of a mental battle each day, right? Making sure, like, am I doing this right? Is this the way it's supposed to be done? How do you
Yeah.
balance like that challenge mentally of starting something from scratch?
So it's funny you bring that up because I was just a few weeks ago. I was listening to a Joel Osteen
Mm,
podcast, and he was talking about how it's you know it's important. It wasn't really about balance. It was more like kind of staying in your lane. Like
mm,
if God gifted you with these talents, then you need to stay doing this or doing that. Don't try to do it all, which I know we all get guilty of it. If you're anything like me, especially,
yes.
I try to do it all. But I think I was mentioning it to a friend of mine who has been hosting these pop ups for us in Goliad. I told her about it, and she was like, she's like, but I think you can do it all. You can,
Mm,
but you have to kind of stay true to what it is that brought you there in the first place. So
yeah.
I think that's probably the most important, is just keeping that foundation beneath you, um, and through all of it.
You know
So,
what's really interesting about that is as I think about new boutiques and like the ones that launch well, the thing
mm-hmm.
that they have in common, the successful ones, is they absolutely know who they are and they're confident in their own skill set or their eye or whatever it is. And they absolutely know who their customer is. That's
Yeah,
critical. And I think a lot of people get stuck like they're trying to be something for everyone and you can't. You just can't. So
right.
to me, it sounds like that's exactly what you've nailed is you know who
Yeah.
you are and you're staying true to your roots and your customers love that.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, still so fresh, starting out this year, doing it all. But yeah, since I've been starting to do these pop ups, I feel like I know my customers a little better, like especially in this area. Um, so I'm getting more of a feel for that in a sense, in which, I like, to me, I don't always dress super Western. I want to be neutral. Like I kind of want to be eclectic in a way where it's like not a
Mm,
whole lot going on, but a merge of the styles. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do, which is incorporating my taste into the children's line of clothing that I select. And I just really try to curate it to where it's a good mix to where you could really be in any environment and be comfortable. And I think doing that is helping me see what my customers want, because you're still offering a variety, but yet you're staying true to your own sense of style as well. So,
yeah, so good. Has there been a best piece of advice someone's given you along the way since you started? You come from a family owned business. I'm sure there was lots of input when you told them what you were going to be doing. Do you have any good advice given to you?
yeah. um, well, honestly, I think that best piece of advice was when I was listening to the Joel Osteen podcast. But yeah, I mean, my mom thought I was crazy. She's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Like, because she's raised four of us, she knows what it's like to have kids, and she actually opened a restaurant when we were really young,
Mm,
and who she had to shut that sucker down when I was little. I think it was my fault actually. I tried to run out into the road while, yeah, it was not a good story. I'm okay though. Nothing happens. I'm alive. But she was like, okay. But anyway, I think that's why she was a little nervous. Like, are you sure you want to take this on? Like, is it something that you're going to be able to do? And she still is, she'll tell me when I'm like doing a little too much. She'll say, hey, you need to tone it down a little bit and maybe not overload yourself with things. But yeah, I mean, I feel like family is always going to have your back no matter what. And they'll tell, with my family, they'll always tell you how they feel, which is a good thing. And I try to pay attention to that, but also, keep my own mind about what I'm wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect. We touched on that word balance earlier, which I just kind of hate that word if I'm being totally honest. I still don't know that it really exists, but being a mom of two young girls, how
mhm.
have you really found time to do the things that you are doing right now and also take care of yourself in the process?
Right. Okay. Yeah. First of all, I understand that whole mom look when you're like, I haven't. I'm lucky I brushed my teeth today. Like that whole thing. I totally get it now. Um, and especially when you're busy with kids and working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole balance thing, I think you just have to be aware of, be conscious of the time you're spending doing what you're doing. And I think technology is great because it's really allowed these things to happen. Whereas, 10 years ago or longer, we weren't able to do these things. Moms weren't able to work from home and, be profitable with a business and kind of feel like you're still out there doing things, even though you're, mainly at home with your kids, which is great. Um,
Yeah.
so I think balance to me is really a time management thing, and I'm no one to really look at in that direction because I'm still a new mom and I'm learning.
Yeah.
um, I I feel like just being home in general and able to spend a lot of time with my girls is the first is my first priority. So I try to balance that home life too, especially
Yeah.
when my husband's in West Texas picking cotton at or harvesting. I'm like, all right, got it.
Trying to do it all.
Yeah, everything is all about balance. So I feel like in the end it all equals out. You just gotta pray about it and ask God if you're moving in the right direction, and
Yeah.
um, pay attention to the signs of the world. So,
Yeah, so true. Well, I think you're in good company. I think everyone here can agree. Uh, None of us really have it figured out, but you do have to just pray about it and take it that one day at a time, right? What might
absolutely,
work one day may not work the next. Yeah.
absolutely. Hmm.
Well, Kristen, I've got a question for you. So, last question of our time together today. And I think you and I probably are very much on the same page with this. When I think about business in general, right? Whether it's your boutique or whether it's Double J, at the end of the day, we aren't here just to sell products to people. We're here for a much bigger purpose. And so, if you fast forward your life 30 years from now and you're on the front porch with your little girls and they're grown and now they have girls of their own, and you're just reflecting back on the life that you lived and the experiences that you had along the way, what's the thing that you want them to remember most about who you were and how you lived?
Oh man. So I think about that quite often. I think once you become a mom and you have kids, that's inevitable,
Yeah.
to think about, because one day your kids are going to be without you. Um, just I try to think about it, but not dwell on it.
Hmm.
But so, I mean, I want them, to remember me as being creative and also having an eye for detail. And then also, just being warm for them and someone that they can always talk to or reflect upon, as they get older. And I hope that they know everything that encompasses my life and they can use it as a tool when they get older, and go through certain things. And just life is full of adventure and so much fun. And I feel like I just want them to be happy and know all of the things, that all of the good morals and all of the wonderful things that life can offer them. So
That's so good. That's a mother's heart right there. Like, truly, that is a mother's heart. I love that. Well, Kristyn, thanks so much for your time today, sharing your story, your history, lessons along the way. We'll certainly link up all the links in the show notes for today, but thank you for being on the show.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's so great to see you again, even if it's on video chat. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I talk to my kids a lot during the day and not a whole lot of adults. So I so much.
Glad to fill the void.
Yes.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you loved it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a rating and review down below for a chance to be one of our featured listeners each and every week. For more information on our spirit of community over competition and how to access complete show notes and bonus downloads from our guests, head on over to theboutiquehub.com and join the community. We'll see you next week.